Well, cheers to the death that saved me and a day des morte. Let's talk some truth about this, baby. Because sometimes you gotta bury your old self before your new one can actually breathe. Hey, lovelies, and welcome back to Spill the Yoni Tea, where we get raw, spiritual, and a little witchy with it. I am your host, Angelina, your midlife ride or die healer, your Gen X true spitter, and your rebirth junkie. And since it's that time of the year, the Day of the Dead, or as our ancestors call it, Des Morte, we're talking about death, rebirth, making peace with ghosts. Not the fucking Hollywood kind. I'm talking about the real emotional, spiritual, and energetic ones that haunt your healing journey, baby boo. Because if you're still walking around holding on to whatever is dead, baby, you're living like a ghost. Let's face it. The meaning of the Day of the Dead. Let's break it down really quick. Des Morte isn't just about spooky or sad or skull candy, baby boo. It's about honoring life through the acceptance of death. In Mexican and indigenous traditions, it's believed that death isn't the end. Baby boo, it is transition. It is transcending one narrative to your higher self, baby boo. It is when the spirit comes home. And once a year, this time of the year, the veil between the worlds is thin. That is what Halloween is about. Halloween was never about putting pumpkins. It's always been about celebrating the spirits of the past. So we light candles, make altars, cook the foods they loved, and we invite our ancestors back to celebrate our journeys. As every generation we evolve and we grow higher to that higher consciousness and awareness. It's not about mourning. It's about remembering with joy because life and death, they're lovers, boo, not enemies. Oh, you get that straight, baby boo. They are lovers. But here's the thing. This isn't just cultural. This is universal. Every healing journey requires its own Day of the Dead moment. Let me do the sacred pause. That sacred pause when you face the parts of yourself that haven't died or need to die. The relationships that drained your spirit, let them die. That version of you who kept quiet to stay light, let that die. The patterns of people pleasing, shrinking, performing, let it die, baby boo. But instead, of bearing it with shame. We need to celebrate its funeral with gratitude because of the lessons learned. And this is really what Desmorte is about. It is about celebrating that death. Okay, let's talk about spiritual meaning of healing. Death isn't just physical, it's energetic, baby boo. Every ending, every heartbreak, every I can't do this anymore moment, that's a death. And guess what? Follows death. The rebirth, baby boo. When your soul evolves, your ego has to die. That old version of you has to diminish in order for this new one to step fully in. That's why healing can hurt. It's a spiritual death. You're not losing your mind, baby. You're losing that old programming. The Day of the Dead reminds us don't run from death. Dance with it. Embody all the magical lessons that you learned whether it was from your lifetime, whether you did generational healing, it's about dancing and embracing death. It is not about fearing it because that's how you get free. When you avoid endings, you avoid evolution. Can I repeat that? When you avoid endings and you're holding on to stories and people of the past, you avoid your evolution, baby boo. And Gen X, we were raised to suck it up. to keep pushing through, to never show weakness. But healing asks the opposite. It asks for surrender. Let it die so something new can live. And I'm going to be honest with you. It is hard. You know, this last few weeks, I've gone on a journey of giving up so many things that I enjoy in order to live a more health, like just to set my body right, baby boo. And it's a struggle, but I had to allow my addiction to sugar, yo, pastries, and, you know, learning to turn and walk down another aisle. I had to allow that version of me to die. Death isn't punishment, it's permission. Permission to stop pretending, permission to release the mask, permission to breathe again. Okay, let's talk. What does rebirth actually look like? Because you can't have a full rebirth, baby boo, if you don't allow that old version of you to die. So, what does rebirth look like in real life? It's that morning you wake up and stop chasing people, things who never saw your worth. It's when you delete those old numbers, burn the apology letter you never sent, and realize you don't need closure. Whether this is work, career, family, relationships, you need peace. Rebirth is when you start saying no without guilt and yes without fear. It's when you no longer perform to be loved. You are just loved. Is it fucking messy? Hell fucking right, it's messy. It's fucking uncomfortable too. And it's scary as fuck because your old self will fight you for survival. It'll whisper, go back to what's comfortable. This is way too much. Just like, go back to what's comfortable. But you can't resurrect what divine creator has already buried for you, baby boo. Sometimes you gotta burn the altar of who you used to be to make space for who you are becoming. Let me say that again. You gotta allow to make space for the rebirth of who you are truly meant to be, baby boo. That's sacred alchemy, turning the pain into power, grief into gold, making peace with the dead. Now, here's the real talk. You can't heal if you keep fucking romanticizing about your ghosts, the past. You know, the ones, the exes who still live rent free in your fucking head, the parents who never gave you the love that you needed, that job that never appreciated or saw your full potential, the friend who betrayed you, the version of yourself you miss because she or he didn't know better. We have to stop trying to resurrect the dead. The past can teach us. Yes, it is our teacher, but it can't love you the past. So create your own altar of release, baby boo. And if you need help, it could be as simple as, rituals really is a perfect way to help rewire how the mind and how we think. And it really allows us to kind of embody this change. So that's why rituals are so important because it is really about that embodiment practice. It is that somatic practice of really tapping into the body. So, like your girls got here, light a candle, write the names or the old versions of yourself on paper, right? Some of the things, especially let's figure this is what we got to do before Halloween starts, baby boo. So write the old version of yourself, the people pleasing, the habits that you want to get rid of, toxic ex relationships, whether it's career, work, family, habits. Write it down on a piece of paper, baby boo. And you are really going to put an intention on what you're ready to let go of and what does not serve you anymore. And get a fire safe bowl. And you're going to fold that piece of paper. And then you're going to allow that paper to completely burn. And while it is burning, burn it with gratitude, not bitterness. And I just want you to say, thank you for the lessons. I now release you with love. And that's how you make peace with the dead. You don't run, you honor it, you release it, and you rise above. Just like the smoke coming from the paper that you're burning, it is rising above, and so is this new version of you. Because holding on to spiritual necromancy, and babe, you're meant for resurrection. How to navigate death, rebirth cycles. When you're deep in a death cycle, which is a breakup, a loss, identity crisis. Remember this. Allow yourself to grieve. Don't rush it. Cry, rage, rest. That's sacred release, baby boo. Embrace that. You got to sit with the discomfort of the discomfort. Don't spiritual bypass. You can't love and light your way out of darkness. You got to walk through it. And just remember, you are the light. You are that light. You are that beacon walking through the dark street. So your light is emanating. Don't forget that. Let go of the timeline. Rebirth isn't something that's going to happen overnight. It is like the metamorphing of the caterpillar going into the cocoon. The cocoon is dark before the butterfly breaks free from it. Ask your ancestors. This is the perfect day to call on your ancestors for guidance. Light a candle. They are walking with you, even when you forget that. And it's easy to forget that because we get so caught up with everyday living and lifing that we really forget to call on our ancestors because they are there. The loved ones who've passed, they're watching down on you, baby boo. Trust the resurrection. Call on your spirit guides, call on your angels, whatever it is that you believe in. Trust the resurrection. Every death brings you closer to your higher self, your most authentic soul self. Remember, rebirth doesn't mean becoming someone new. Let me repeat that. It doesn't mean you're becoming somebody new. It is you are allowing and birthing your true, authentic self to come through. It is about remembering who you've always been beneath that pain, that younger version of yourself, that carefree child. And when you do, you can move and you move through life with that optimistic, energetic soul and expression, love, and you have that freedom to be truly your most divine self without that bitterness, without that anxiety, without all those attached emotional pains that have been weighing you down from allowing yourself to be completely free in your expression, baby boo. Okay, Gen X, now I'm going to take a sip. Let's get ready for some real talk moment here. You know what's wild? Our generation was raised on survival. We weren't fucking soft, baby. We were far from fucking being soft. We were taught to be numb, to get over it, to grind. But we're the generation now doing the fucking soul work. Like, how many of you are up here thinking, like, damn, when is this going to end? But secretly, you're fucking enjoying this because you know what? You're getting that challenge. And all Gen X, we love our challenges. Healing the bloodline, breaking the cycles, raising the contrast while holding our jobs, paying bills, and trauma in one hand and sage in the fucking other hand. We're the bridge between the wounded and the awakened, between the death and the rebirth. So when you're in the dark night of your soul, baby, but when you actually hit rock bottom and you don't think it's going to get any worse, baby boo, welcome to the fucking club. You just hit the dark night of your soul when you just feel like you've lost anything and you feel so alone. Baby boo, this is the time. You're not dying. You are fucking being upgraded. And yo, it does not feel like that at all. It does not feel like that at all. It feels like you just lost everything. And it's hard. It's hard, especially if you've always hustled and worked so hard in your life. Like me, I went from Prada to nada and then had to rebuild myself again. And it's hard, baby boo. But I would never change it. No. If it meant finding me and being my most authentic self, it's so fucking worth it. So this Deres Morte, just remember, light a candle for your ancestors. Light one for your old self, the one who didn't know how to heal her or himself yet. The one who tried and failed and got back up again, whispering, you can restart now. I've got it from here. That's how you make peace with the dead and honor your rebirth. Because baby boo, you're going to have so many times where you're like running to the finish line. You're like, oh, I got it. I got it. And then all of a sudden, bang, you get hit with a wall and you're like, okay, I didn't fucking see that coming. and you feel like going back to what was comfortable, but instead you dust yourself off and you keep going to that finish line. And it doesn't matter if you come in first place, but the whole thing is that you keep running until you get to the end of that line, baby boo. And that's what it feels like, this healing journey. Because death is the opposite of life. It's a part of it, yes. And the more we honor the endings, the freer our beginnings become. So, baby boo, tonight, when you get home, I want you to really find one of those kind of whatever song really inspires you to be your higher self. Whatever song that really fuels your soul and just gets you going and just switches your mood. I want you to really find that song and I want you to make it your anthem. Whether that is The Eye of the Tiger by Rocky, that is like a hardcore anthem for us Gen X's, because we all know that pivotal moment where Rocky is like training hard, breaking sweat, running up and down those stairs. We all remember that. And it was his heart. It was his heart that kept driving him and forcing. And that is why we grew up seeing Rocky as the champ. And it's the same thing with your healing journey, baby boo. Sometimes you're going to get hit and you're going to get disappointed, but it's just, you're going to keep going and going. And if this episode hit home for you, baby boo, please share it. Tag me in it. And if you're ready to alchemize your pain into power, then definitely book your 30-minute coaching call and let's get you reborn into the next chapter, baby boo. Because it really is. I mean, this whole month I've been talking about mirror work, shadow work, and the death and the rebirth, and really connecting us to this pivotal moment. Because Halloween has always been rooted tradition about honoring and celebrating the death and the spirits. And because this time of the year, the veil is very thin. And as we go on into the new year, it is so important just to allow those old versions, those old stories. Because, baby boo, the ultimate truth is you're not forced to change. You're not forced to fall in love. The honest to God truth is when you listen to your spirit and you choose to take those chances and invest in yourself. You choose to take that risk in love. You choose to give your heart to somebody. You choose to allow the death and rebirth to happen. You choose to honor your past and let go of it. And this is really a time for you to really evolve. And a lot of people, whether you're aware of it or not, energetically, the shift for so many people is the seasons are changing and people tend to feel a little bit more tired, a little bit more drained, not as enthusiastic. And this isn't just a time zone thing, this is universal. So everybody around the world kind of feels like this when it comes to this time of year. It is because the veil is thin and it's really getting you to explore and allow that death and rebirth to happen. And baby boo, if you are ready for real change and you need some help and you're struggling, please don't hesitate. Go to the link in my bio and hit me up for a 30-minute coaching call. Let's get you reborn into the next chapter. Until next time, beautiful Gen X, stay wild, stay sacred, and never be afraid to bury what no longer serves your magic, baby boom. Because it is all about emanating your truth and allowing for the rebirth of you. I know it's never easy. You spend half your time like the caterpillar crawling around, going through the cycles, crawling up a tree, navigating so high up this tree. And then all of a sudden, you get really tired and you bury yourself in a cocoon and you rest. And that resting, just like you and this whole death and rebirth, is allowing yourself to sit with the discomfort of the stories and the narratives and doing the shadow work so you can really heal and allow that metamorphosis to happen within you. So that way, when you're breaking out of the cocoon, you're breaking out of it with your wings. And then you're discovering yourself in a whole new light. That is the rebirth. But a lot of times people don't tell you the rebirth. Now you got these wings and you got to expand them and you got to learn how to fly. And that is the magical, is that juiciness and rediscovering your most authentic self. And yes, you're going to fall down. The first time you try to flutter those wings, you're not going to get very far, baby boo. But it's just you're going to keep going and you're going to keep going. And eventually you'll be flying across the country all on your own. And that's exactly what the death and the rebirth is. It's that metamorphosis of you transforming, alchemizing all that bullshit that you've been dealt with, sitting with it, healing from it, and fucking alchemizing it and embodying the best version of yourself. Going from a worm to a fucking beautiful butterfly. That is exactly what you're doing. So until next time, baby boo, stay raw, stay true, sending you lots of love. Ciao.